Good evening and welcome to the Personal Injury Law Show. My name's Harry Nowicki and my co-host is Tony Carbone.
Hello viewers.
Welcome. We're here to talk about personal injuries and cases in courts that arise from people who are injured and all that follows from that. The first case we're going to discuss today is a case that some people might be familiar with. It was a case 31-year-old panel beater who was chased by some Connex guards for failing to, I think, purchase a ticket at a Connex railway station. And when he was chased, he fell, hurt his wrist, couldn't work as a panel beater. The judge found in his favour and awarded him over $500,000. Connex appealed to the Court of Appeal. What happened?
The Court of Appeal said the judge got the law wrong and it's been sent back to the county court for retrial.
Okay.
Now, it was a mishmash of the law in terms of the elements of the... He sued for an assault and battery, so there's two parts of it.
Well, was he assaulted? He was being chased by... he's chased by two Connex inspectors.
My apprehension as a plaintiff lawyer is how it came about that they chased him. Because when they first approached him, I don't think he had a ticket, and he kept on jumping on the tracks. He was actually instigating a confrontation, Harry.
Well, he was scared.
He wasn't scared. He was stirring them up.
Was he?
He was.
Well,
he
ran away and he was being chased and he fell. And his evidence was that one of them stood on his hand as well.
My understanding of the facts is that they approached him for a ticket. He didn't have a ticket. He jumped onto the tracks. He went back, purchased a ticket, came back, and he was saying, "I've got a ticket." And he was stirring the officers. He was actually...
So what?
And then he jumped back on the tracks again when the train was coming. So that's when he spat at one of the officers.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, they started chasing him.
Yeah. Well, he was running away.
Yeah.
I think the evidence was that the Connex officers had called the police.
They did.
So he was running away. Maybe he thought the police were going to nab him. I don't know. And face a fine.
But what's critical to his case is that he had to have an apprehension or a fear that he'd be assaulted. And I think after he spat at one of the officers, there's a fair chance he could have copped the belting. Who knows?
Well, he ran away and he fell, hurt his hand.
He badly fractured his wrist, and in his evidence he also said that one of the officers stood on his hand. And I'm not sure if the judge found that...
The judge didn't accept it?
No.
Didn't accept that?
Because there's two parts to that, because that's the battery, if the officer stood on his hand.
Judge didn't accept it. But she did accept that he had a genuine fear that he would be bashed, if you like.
Well, I've got a genuine fear if this goes back to court before a jury that they might not like the guy. And this raises the issue about juries again. This case was actually heard by a judge alone.
Yep.
But I would be very nervous if I had to go before a judge and a jury, because a jury won't understand the law. A jury will probably look at prejudices and they might turn around and say, look, this guy brought it upon himself.
But you can say that if he did bring it on himself, that's really discounts what the claim's worth. It doesn't really eliminate the fact that he was chased and he had a genuine fear, even though he provoked it, he had a genuine fear that he'd be assaulted or bashed by these security guards. He got him angry.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
He got him angry.
I think if anyone gets spat at, they'd be pretty upset.
So, and they were chasing him, and then I think he slipped and fell and, damaged a wrist.
He jumped over a cyclone fence, he's running, and, he did. When he fell, I think the evidence is when he fell, he damaged his wrist, when he struck the ground.
And so...
and the judge found that there's negligence on the part of the officers.
But you're saying because he was an unpleasant unpleasant character on the face of it. We don't know him, but he was unpleasant character on the face of it. The judges or juries would be prejudiced by that.
I'd prefer to go before a judge. I think a jury might not like this bloke. That's what I'm saying. I think if it goes before a judge, two wrongs don't make a right. Just because he was being provocative and offensive and everything else, doesn't mean that they can go out there and chase him and bash him.
And bash him. Well, they didn't actually bash him, but he feared. He had a real fear.
Well, Harry, who knows? It's going to be retried. Maybe the next
he had a
court
real fear.
will find that he was bashed. Who knows?
But I think, the evidence was that he had a real fear. That you raise issues about jury. Reading one case recently where a judge in New South Wales said, juries, every day there are miscarriages of justice by juries. And the plaintiff lawyer should never request that any matter be tried by a jury.
He took it further than that, Harry. He said that any plaintiff lawyer asking for a jury should be a professional negligence case against them. He said that
it's a bit extreme.
It's absurd. Yeah. Oh, look, in Victoria, as a rule, you prefer not to have a jury because they don't understand the law. They're influenced by all sorts of factors.
Well, they do understand the law because the judges explain the law to them.
They don't necessarily follow don't follow what they're told. I mean, judges can explain all day long, but I've been in cases where judges tried to push the jury in a certain direction, they've gone the other way. It happens more often than not. And a lot of their decisions are based on prejudice. And, if they like the plaintiff, they generally try and look after them. And if they don't like the plaintiff... Look, we had an instance ourselves where, on the law itself, I thought it was a difficult case. And this is a fellow that was throwing a TV into a rubbish tip, and the cord swung around and hit him in the eye. Now, before most judges, you'd have a lot of problems with that case, but a jury looked after him. Looked after him in a sense that they found negligence on the part of the council.
found that the...
But they didn't give him a big payout. I think that's where they balanced it up. They thought that he brought it upon himself to some extent.
But, common law, in Victoria common law, juries still exist, and 6 people plucked at random from the street can decide these cases.
Pretty nervous about juries, Harry.
Are you?
Yeah, I prefer to have a judge with a bit of legal experience behind him deciding the elements of what tort you're relying on. In this case, there's an assault and a battery. The tort is the law that relates to
fault.
Fault.
Fault. Who's at fault? That's all we've got time for at the moment. We're going to a short break. We'll be back after the break.